The kangaroos know it first. They bound through the long grass just before dusk, where the wind dances low and the shadows stretch tall. They feel the shift in the air, that strange stillness between seasons, the way the days are still warm but the nights begin to bite. Our chili plants are glowing red like firecrackers, ready to burst with heat. I gather a few of them today, and I'm going to make some sweet chili sauce with them. Mushrooms have begun to push their way up through the compost in our raised beds. We used mushroom compost this year, rich earthy stuff that seems to drink up like rain, but the cucumbers didn't really take kindly to it. They're doing all right, but the cucumbers were much better last year. Still, the parsley thrives. Wild and brave, 1,000 green flags waving from every corner of the garden like it knows no fear, and the kale is starting to swell and crisp. Our grama vines too, they've been sulking through the summer, but after months of tender loving care, they're stretching again, and the daikon radish is waking up beside them, roots plunging deep. And the red amaranth is a giant now, with its head full and thick of seeds. I slipped a piece of cardboard under the spaghetti squash, a trick learned from my mum back in the day, so that it wouldn't rot from the wet ground below. The season is definitely beginning to shift, but you have to be still to notice it. Out the front in our new rock garden, I saw a lizard stretched long and still across a warm stone, and its belly drank in the heat from the sun-soaked granite, and for a moment nothing in the world stirred, just that lizard and the sound of distant wind in the trees. It didn't move until I did, then it darted away, quick as a thought, vanishing behind the post, leaving only the whisper of its presence behind. Paul left for Brisbane a few days back. Paul and Eli are helping our mate Daryl pull down an old shed. We'll be bringing it back here to build a kind of veranda on the front of our own shed. I'm so excited about it because it will give us a bit of shade and also protection from the rain.
Oh, great job. Thanks, mate.
So this is the carport shed that Paul will use for his tools and the mower and that sort of thing. And this big one is the one that's going to join onto our shed to give us some shelter and shade. It's a big job to pull them down over a few days over the weekend, but Eli's there to help them as well.
And then turn and smile at the camera. How you going up there?
Good, mate, good. The fun part.
Yeah.
All right.
And as the shed starts to come down, all the pieces are laid out on the ground. Hopefully we'll be able to put it all back together again.
So all the battens are off. And now we're just working at taking our first beam off. Yeah, video the worker. Okay, so we just we've undone that end of the truss or the roof beam, and the worker up there is just going to undo the other couple of screws at the other end, and we hope it doesn't fall down.
Clear.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Undone.
Good to go. Same again. You right? Yep.
Done for me. You know what I might do? I might just put this cabinet down.
Oh, yeah? You know, I could put that somewhere.
Would you?
Yeah.
Where could you put it?
I don't know, Paul.
Okay, day 3, and this is the last post to come down. Will you do the honours for us, Daryl?
No.
Oh, Nice. Well, the last post is down, but it is still stuck to the concrete stirrup. Awesome job. Congratulations, us.
Oh, we've done well.
We have.
I stayed on Chimney Creek Farm, tending to the seeds, a task that humbles you. You don't know how precious something is until you've cradled its future in the palm of your hand. 3 days passed like a dream in a storm, then just after midnight the headlights rolled across the paddock and Paul and Eli were home again, dusty and smiling, with the shed loaded high on the borrowed truck. But they didn't come alone. There was something else in the back, tucked between boxes, like treasure in a storybook. And Rocky, one of our neighbours, rolled up in the middle of the night with a forklift, like some strange dream conjured by necessity and good luck. It clanked and groaned and hissed under the weight, but it did what our backs could not. Paul pulled out the first box like it was something sacred, and in a way it was.
Bottom of these boxes are going to drop out.
Uh-oh, you can hear something in there. Robbie's going to eat them, whatever it is. It was my surprise Valentine's gift. Whoa, can't see them properly. Inside were 5 hens with pale crests. Cream Legbars, they lay the blue eggs. Then came 2 more, darker, richer, Marans. Their eggs are like chocolate, not just brown, but the colour of polished chestnut, deep and warm, like the old wood of our kitchen table. And the last box had a single glossy black hen, bigger than the rest, silent and watchful, an Australorp, I reckon. She'll lay plain brown eggs, and she still carries the stillness of old things. This shed is going to be so amazing, not just for shelter from the rain, though the summer rains come hard and sudden, but it gives us shade so we can keep living outside, close to the birds, close to the land. The work of unloading the shed was hard, even with the help, but somehow under the strange light of the moon, with breath in our lungs and sweat on our backs, it felt easier. By the time the last bolt was laid down and the final piece shifted off the back of the truck, it was nearly 3 a.m. We were bone tired, eyes gritty with dust and headlights, but we weren't done yet. We snuck the new chickens into the pen, where 6 half-grown pullets were raised from chicks, now roosted, and 1 old black chook, the last survivor from the original flock. The others from her flock had been taken by that quoll one terrible night, when the stars were too quiet and we hadn't fixed up the chicken pen properly. She's a tough old bird, that one, lonesome but proud. And the newcomers most of them ended up just sleeping in their boxes overnight, and we even found a blue egg in one of the boxes. Paul's friend Adrian has loaned him this truck for a couple of days, which we were so grateful for because It just saved us heaps of money, so we didn't have to hire something else to bring the sheds down. And Eli was there helping out unload the sheds as well. And Rocky, working with his forklift for us under the stars, was like a guardian angel in work boots. And not to mention that Daryl had sold us these sheds for way under what they were worth. We've had some news recently, the kind that makes your chest tighten. Eli's had some concerning test results come back. It means he'll be in and out of hospital a lot over the next few months. But there's a lot more to that story, and maybe I'll share it one day if it feels right. But for now, just know it's part of the backdrop to our days. You can love your adult children deeply without carrying the weight of their choices. Letting go isn't giving up, it's trusting them to walk their own path. You can't walk that path for them, especially when it's rocky, but you can stand at the edge, steady and loving, and ready for when they reach for your hand, not to steer them, but to remind them that they're not alone. In some exciting news though, our dear friends Christy and Scott will be coming to visit us again soon. I think this will be their third trip out here to Chimney Creek Farm, and I'm really looking forward to it. There's something special about friendships that endure distance and time, the kind where you pick up right where you left off, even if months or even years have passed. When they're here, it feels like the land stretches a little wider, and the fire crackles louder, and everything opens up to welcome them home again. I've been so blown away lately by the generosity of people, not just the ones we've known for years, but even those we've only just met. There's a kind of quiet magic in the help that appears. A mate loans us a truck. A neighbour, comes with a forklift at midnight. Sometimes I wonder what we ever did to deserve such kindness. But maybe it isn't about deserving. Maybe it's just about showing up with open hands and an open heart and trusting that others will too. Nobody's perfect. We're all just doing the best we can with what we have. But I think more than anything, we all just feel like we want to belong, to feel seen, to feel like there's a place at the table for us, even if we show up tired or messy or crazy. Out here, the land teaches you that everything has a place, even the crooked branches, and even the wild and weedy things. So maybe people are like that too. We all just want to be accepted for who we are, not the masks we wear or the roles we play, but for the raw, messy truth of us. We don't want to fit into someone else's box or smooth out our edges just to make other people comfortable. We don't want to keep twisting ourselves into shapes that please the world, but break our own hearts. Life is too short for that. The forklift finally drops its last load. Eventually, we get that big shed up, piece by piece, bolt by bolt, turning it into a veranda for our little house. It stands strong now, giving us shade and shelter, a place to gather, rest and breathe. But that's another story to tell. The next morning we went down early to check out the new chickens and how everyone was settling in. They were all awake, the old and the new, pacing, pecking, blinking sideways at one another like strangers on a train. Happy Valentine's, Paul said. The newcomers bring our flock to 15, I think, now. So we had 3 white Sussex and 3 Rhode Island Reds, which we've raised them from since they were tiny chicks, only a couple of weeks old when they came to us. They're half grown now and a little awkward, but hopefully they'll start laying some eggs soon as well. Some will turn out to be roosters, no doubt. That's just how it goes. It'll be interesting to see who starts to crow, who puffs up their chest and begins to strut. Nature reveals herself in time, and all we can do is watch and wonder.
Hello, Jojo. Hey, Jojo. I saw this one having a go at the little rooster and the Maran.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She wants to be the boss because she was here first.
that's right. And they all followed her in here.
Did they?
Yeah, like the other ones. All these were in there. Two of the Sussex were here last night in that compartment.
They're quite pretty, those Sussex ones
Aren't
now. They weren't really that pretty when they were little.
The dirty brown.
Mm.
So looking at that,
You reckon that one's a rooster?
yeah, that one, I think.
Well, there's two like that. Well, there's three like that.
No, not with their. Well, that could be as well, but they're slight.
You want my shorts?
With tassels.
Must be hungry. She's about nearly the same size of our old rooster.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, that's good. Oh, good.
You're the boss, aren't you? We'll have to think of a name for her. I think I'll call the old black chook Bossa Nova.
Look here, this is what we see from the inside. So it's got all the writing on it and that sort of stuff, and all sun stained. So these bits here, and that is the carport. And then that lot there is the big shed.
Paul also got an egg incubator.
Put that together.
We have no idea how to use it yet, but we'll learn, as we always do.
See where that goes. Ta-da! Oh, 12 volt. Can run off the battery.
Paul and Eli had to go again, back to Brisbane to return the truck. And the land felt quiet after they left, like it was listening for something. Unfortunately, about 30 minutes before they were due to drop the truck off, the truck suddenly went into limp mode, barely crawling along the highway at 30 kilometres an hour with its hazard lights blinking and traffic flying past. They did their best to keep calm and hoping that the truck would just hold on long enough to get it there. They made it just. They dropped it off to Adrian feeling awful and sick with worry about what might have gone wrong. And it turns out that truck needed some really expensive repairs, but Adrian, bless him, was incredibly understanding. He knew it wasn't their fault and he didn't lay any blame. He just accepted it and seemed to know that machines break and people try. And it's in moments like these that you really see a person's character. And I was reminded again how lucky we are to have the kind of people in our lives who meet difficulty with grace. The mornings are starting to get cooler. Autumn is coming. We will build our veranda. We will hatch what hatches. We will lose some things and we will gain some things, because that's the promise of this life. Rooted, rhythmic, wild but tender, and I'll be here for it. Barefoot, soil stained, and watching the seasons spin their tail again.